back. In today's video, we are going to be chatting about goals and goal setting, as well as how to set effective goals. A goal is simply an aim or objective, something you're working towards, something that you want to accomplish. They're important for four main reasons. One, it helps you choose an action that's best aligned with what you're wanting to accomplish, so it really helps you direct your focus and energy towards it. Two, when you have something that you get excited about, it's a lot easier to take action on. So when you have a clearly defined goal that you care about, it's going to help increase the effort and energy that you have to put towards it. In addition, having a goal, especially long-term goals, it's going to help prolong your energy, where even on those days where you're like, oh, is this something that I really want? Having a well-defined goal that you care about is going to help make sure you stick it out for the long run. Finally, having goals helps with problem solving because you are determined to figure out what you need to do in order to get the job done. It's going to encourage you to overcome challenges and persist and persevere even when things aren't enjoyable. That's a summary of why goals are important. There are also 3 different types of goals. I'm going to give language for each of these types of goals, and I will also share when to use them, why to use them, and a few nuggets on how to actually use them in your routines. 3 types of goals are outcome goals, performance goals, and process goals. Outcome goals are how well you want to do compared to somebody else. This could be related to a competition, wanting to win, or it could be related to something like a tryout and wanting to make a certain team. If there's ever a situation where you are comparing how well you are doing compared to somebody else, that is an outcome goal. Performance goals are the goals that you have set regarding how you personally want to improve as an athlete. You know your own strengths, you know the things that you need to work on, and performance goals will be based on things such as that in order to help you excel as an athlete. Examples of performance goals could include wanting to be more confident. It could be wanting to be able to lift a certain amount of weight. It could be related to the way that you're thinking when you're showing up in sport, or having a better idea of what the game plan is so that you're able to support your team in it. Finally, there are process goals. And process goals are essentially the day-to-day baby steps that you are taking to accomplish your performance goals. We have a little bit less control over outcome goals because there's another party involved. So I like to focus on performance goals. And process goals, you're probably already doing a ton of these things without even noticing it. Like, do you most nights get a decent sleep? Do you eat well and fuel your body? Do you stay hydrated? Are you consistent with your training? If you answered yes to any or all of them, you are already engaged in the process of being an athlete. So before I get athletes to set more process goals, I also get them to acknowledge how they're already showing up in the process. As athletes, it's so easy to always want to be more and do more and accomplish more. Sometimes we need to take stock of the things that we're already accomplishing because you deserve credit, and we need to give credit where credit is due. So when it comes to process goals, the small things that you do on a daily basis that are aligned with your goals and moving you towards your goals, acknowledge those, celebrate those, relish in the fact that you are accomplishing them and you are on this journey. Now, in talking about these 3 different goals, the tendency for teams is to really focus on outcome goals. You're there to win. You're training to win. Your goal is to win and be better than the other team. And while yes, that is the long-term outcome goal, if you get too focused on it, it can create a lot of anxiety around performance. It can also make it really hard to perform and stay in the moment when all you're doing is thinking about how the game is going to turn out. My tip when it comes to setting outcome goals, whether you're an athlete or a coach, set it and forget it. And then once time passes where that goal is no longer relevant, it's not a thing in your calendar because the event has passed, the situation has passed, you get to set a new outcome goal, and you get to reassess what your performance goals are, and you get to reassess what your process goals are. And I'll chat more about that. But outcome goals, heavy focus on them can create anxiety around performance. Set them and forget them. And I'm going to offer some tips on what you can focus on instead. When it comes to performance goals, it's important that they are only moderately challenging. The most important performance goal is going to be the next step. You can have a goal of wanting to lift way more than you're currently lifting, but it's okay in your head. You're just thinking, I want to be able to lift more, or I want to be able to lift this really big amount. And then when you actually go to pursue that performance goal, bringing it back to say, if I want to be able to lift this really high amount, what's just the next amount of weight I need to stack on? In addition, it's really important to keep in mind that you can set goals in a variety of areas, and I think this is particularly relevant with performance and process goals, where you can set physical goals, such as being stronger, tactical goals, such as what's my team's game plan, we can set technical goals of what is a skill I need to be able to do for my sport, and how can I do it really well? How can I refine my technique in the skills I need to have that are sport specific? Then we also need to have mental and emotional goals. What are you thinking about? How are you feeling when you're going out? These 5 areas are really important to consider when you're setting performance goals. And even though you're probably really excited about setting performance goals for all 5 of these areas, it's really important to dial your focus down to 1 or 2 of them. At this moment in your season, what's the priority? If you're in your preseason, working on technique and getting stronger, or not even getting stronger is for your off season, getting healthy is in your off season. If you are in your preseason, perhaps you are working on more of your mental game. Maybe you are working on more of the technical and tactical stuff so that when your competition season comes, you are skilled and practiced and know what you're doing. Really think about where you're at in your season and what is most important for you to be working on right now. And also consider where you are at. If you're in a funk, maybe you need to take some pressure off of getting stronger or refining your technique and really focus on how can I show up with more confidence? Because I know that that's where this funk is coming from. So consider where you're at in your season, where you are just at personally before you're setting performance goals, and only choose 1 or 2 of them to focus on a time. The point of setting goals is to direct your energy. If you have 5 different performance goals, that's not really directing your energy. It's kind of scattering it. Keep your energy focused when you're setting your goals. That brings us to process goals. Setting process goals that are aligned with your performance goals is critical. If your performance goal is related to technique, that's where you want to focus most of your process goal energy. If your focus is on technique, don't set process goals that are related to your physical performance, getting stronger. So process goals are what are in your control. Outcome goals, you have another team, you have other athletes there who can really interfere with it. Process goals that are related to your physical performance, getting stronger. Process goals are what are in your control. Outcome goals, you have another team, you have other athletes there who can really interfere with it. Process goals are you on a daily basis that you have the most control over. They also need to be really specific. And again, once you acknowledge what you're already doing, it's hopefully helpful in setting some additional steps. Sometimes when it comes to setting process goals, it can feel like I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know what the next step is. If you are in that space of not really knowing what goal to set, it could be helpful to potentially talk to a coach to say, hey coach, I really want to work on my technique. What's a drill that I can be doing? Hey coach, I really want to get this game plan down pat. Do you have any resources or gameplay that I can watch so that I know I'm learning the right things and know where I need to be? With process goals, I'm also going to say you cannot set too many of these. With that though, there is also the caveat that if you happen to not accomplish one of your process goals one day, that's okay. What's most important is that you're doing your process goals most of the time, whatever that means for you, and that might change depending on what level of competition that you're at. But as long as you're showing up in the process most of the time in a way that's aligned with your goals, you're golden. We do not expect perfection here. You can be imperfect and be excellent at the same time. I promise. So that's a summary of 3 different types of goals, why you're setting them, and hopefully setting up a bit of a strategic plan of what to focus your energy on most, which is the process. Now I'm going to go through 5 different points of what makes effective goal setting. I've mentioned the first one a few times. Your goals need to matter to you. I don't care what your parents say. I don't care what coaches say. I don't care what other athletes are doing or what they are saying or what you're seeing on social media. What do you care about? Why are you in sport? What feels good for you to focus on right now? Effective goals also need to be challenging to nudge that energy forward, but they also need to be believable. If you don't genuinely think you can accomplish something, it's going to be really hard to take action on. So there needs to be at least a glimmer inside of you that's like, no, I can do this. It might take some time, but I can eventually do this. The third one is aligned with process goals, and I would have already mentioned it. Really focus on what you can control. And I'm sure your coaches have said this before, focus on the controllables. And if you bring it down to the process, what's just the next step? What is just the next thing that you need to do that is aligned with what you're trying to accomplish in the long term? That's all you can do. There's a lot of unknowns along the way, so what is just the next best thing that you can do? Also, make sure that your goals are positively worded. This is one that I have athletes so often say, well, I don't want to be so nervous. I don't want to be so nervous when I go out. It's like, okay, so what do you want? You want to be less nervous? Do you want to be less activated? Do you want to be more confident? Do you want to be more calm? Do you want to trust yourself more? Really making sure that the way you are wording your goals is focused on what you do want rather than what you're trying to avoid. It's going to help create a lot of clarity around what you're actually working towards. I mentioned this as well. Make sure that you have a bit of a variety between mental, physical, technical, and emotional goals. Pick 1 or 2 that are most important to you right now in your season. That's a summary of 5 different things that make for effective goal setting. Thank you so much for joining. I would love to hear what you learned or what you are currently working towards in comments if you're willing to share. And until next time.